the ocean with you, baby, up with a slow motion crew. And we up in our clouds when people change, but not us. And we just chillin', kicking it, kissed by the sun. Could be soaked to. She got the good vibes when seasons change, but we're the same. Even if I lose deep on it, and I don't need to speak a single word, 'cause you got me holding, holding. Even if my jokes aren't funny, my tongue tied up on it, and I don't need to speak a single word, 'cause you got me holding, holding. And I'll be running, possessed by a lone, low voodoo. Fired up like a wolf on a full moon. And we're stuck in a la-la land. The tides will turn without us. And I'll be killing time like I might be a cartoon. Take it in real life like haiku. I know we got the good vibes when pieces fall right into place. Even if I lost all my money,
Hi.
the zero runs deep, honey.
Welcome. Happy Friday. Me too. I love Fridays. My computer is very no bueno today. We'll see. Hello, Edwin. Welcome to the show.
Play me like a bass guitar, simmer down and mess me up, tripping like I'm Jimmy at Woodstock. And I drive me around in your red Ford, shivers down my spinal cord. Oh, 'cause you got me holding, holding. Even if I lost all my money, the zero runs deep, honey.
If you are watching the recap, feel free to fast forward 10 minutes in.
Here we go again. Trying hard, but you wanna be my friend. Ain't no place to hide, ain't no one to run to. Here we go again. Call my bluff, I'ma be here till the end. I'm the one you ride, I'm the one you ride to. If you don't wanna change, ain't no place to hide, ain't no one to run to. If you don't wanna change, I can help you out, 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 I can help you out. Here we go again. Time is up and I'm calling up my friends. Ain't no wonder why, ain't no one to ride to. Here we go again. Call me up and you wanna be my friend. I'm the one you ride, I'm the one you ride to. If you don't wanna change, ain't no place to hide, ain't no one to run to. If you don't wanna change, I can help you out, 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 I can help you out.
This song's pretty good.
I can help you out, I can help you out. Look, if you don't wanna change, ain't no place to hide, ain't no one to run to. If you don't wanna change,
Here we go. 1 minute left.
I can help you out, 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 I can help you out. I just can't let you go. Lord knows that I've tried to. You said I was the only one. No one likes being lied to. You made this mess and left me with the pieces. Now I wanna burn all the bridges between us. I can't focus, I can't forget. I've been thinking too much lately. I just need to clear my head.
So, how would you raise money for your startup? Let's go. Hey yo, what's up everybody? Zen here with ClosedWon. Welcome to our happy hour edition. This is a channel where we can enjoy a nice cup of joe while covering basic sales tips for first-time founders. Every week, we reshare motivational videos and interview entrepreneurs who are constantly learning new things while pushing their own superhuman limits. Our goal is to introduce you to people and their ideas that will help you execute on your dreams. We'll talk about real life experiences, examples that you can apply and exercise immediately. Finally, we bake in sales strategies to help you close your first 10 clients. So, if you are new here, Don't forget to subscribe, smash the like, and feel free to ask us any questions. So how would you raise money for your startup?
How do I raise money from an angel investor and VC? And this is happening, this is an epidemic, excuse me. This is a real issue at hand. Hundreds of times a day, Gary, how do I do this? Gary, how do I do this? And it's literally a kind of question that really marks the times, where 99% of the entrepreneurs that I'm interacting with, all of their behavior is predicated on raising the next round of money versus actually building a business. So very simply, my friends, I'm gonna answer it. The number one way to raise money from a VC and an angel investor is to build a good enough business that they all come to you. That's right. Here's a novel idea in 2015. Why don't you build a profitable business that builds real value, that has real customers that pay in whatever form that means, business model, whether it's a freemium or an advertising or you sell stuff, and why don't you build so much momentum and earned media and hype and leverage and power, and why don't you have people actually emailing you, asking you to have a meeting and asking you to actually take their money, begging you to take not only their money, their smart money, because you're getting the best angels, super angels, VCs pounding your door because you're winning. How about you actually execute and then drive the behavior backwards? I think that's how you do it.
Whew. Fuego. Gary with another hot tip. So there you go. Build a good enough business where you attract investors. Reverse engineer. But then again, building a good enough business, it's kind of hard to do that as well. And so I found another video, and in about a minute, he's going to share an approach. It's a step-by-step approach that you can actually apply. And so he is the president of Y Combinator, Mr. Geoff Ralfston. Let's go.
So, in less than a minute, figure out the story of your startup. This means figuring out why you're going to matter in the future. What is it about your product, your opportunity, that's going to tell a story about the future that a venture capitalist will care about? So this might mean getting product market fit. It might mean growth. Could mean a lot of things. Then find the right investors. Do research. Talk to other founders. This is where organizations like YC can be a ton of help. Get organized. You do your homework. You create your spreadsheet. And you get a list of everyone you're going to talk to and you're going to reach out to, or you're going to get introductions to. And then you begin. You will pitch again and again and again. You will refine your story again and again, and you will get better at it as you iterate. And eventually, you'll meet the right investors. Sometimes the right investors will be the investor with whom you resonate the best and who you think is going to be the best added value. Sometimes the right investor be the person who is willing to write you a check first. So then you agree on a price. We'll talk about negotiations more later. And then you get the money in the bank. And lastly, you get back to work. That's it.
They make it sound so easy. He says that's it. Not quite. There's actually more. Today, I brought in someone very, very special. I hope you guys are ready. She raised $2.1 million from VCs in Silicon Valley. So you guys ready to learn how to raise money for your startup? All right, I'm seeing some raise your hand. Here we go. All right. So, unfortunately, this show is going to be postponed. This interview is going to be postponed. Things come up, and, that is okay. We're going to reschedule. We're going to have Amanda again. It's not a big deal, all right? So, instead, you guys get to spend time with me. All right, here's what I've done real quick. It was like within 30 minutes before the show. I've curated some tips that I found online, and it's gonna hopefully help someone out there raise money. And so the first thing that we need to do is do your research. Tip number 1, you need to learn who you are going to work with. And so I found this video by Forbes, and they're defining who the venture capitals are. So here we go. What is venture capital?
Venture capital is something you hear about all the time in tech, but do you know what it is or how it works? Could you explain it to people at a party? Well, if not, we got you. Venture capital is money that is provided by investors to startups that have the potential to reshape markets and grow very fast. The money deployed by a VC firm usually comes from institutional investors, corporations, or wealthy individuals looking to make some serious dough. Let's say Jane and Brian have a camera app that's getting a lot of customers and media attention. They know their little company could be ballin' one day, but the banks are hesitant to lend them money because they think it's too risky. But Marcus, a successful VC, looks at what Jane and Brian have done and thinks the benefits outweigh the risks. He gets to know the two, learns about their product, reads the business plan, and finds out how much they've done so far. Marcus likes what he sees and decides to invest in Jane and Brian's company. He does the same in varying amounts to other startups with similar potential, because in the VC game, you need a backup plan. About 3 out of every 4 startups fail, so a VC has to make sure the projects that do make money make enough of it to cover the losses of the failures. They also have to make sure that the parties who back them get a healthy return on their investment. Even with the risks, VCs love tech startups because of their ability to scale easily. As for how much money Jane and Brian would get, that depends on where their company is at. Seed funding is at the earliest stage, basically something to get the party going. Series A is for when the company has established product and market fit, started to make some serious buzz, and its customer base is growing fast. Series B is when the company has started to make some considerable revenue in select markets and is looking to expand operations. Series C and onwards is when the company has grown up and is likely operating on a global scale. It may be ready for an IPO, to be bought out by another company, or continue operating as a private firm. So let's say Jane and Brian have stayed in the game, gone through Series C, and are now ready for the next step. They decide to IPO, making their company public on the stock market. That goes well, and Marcus sees a nice return on his initial investment. So there you have it. Venture capital is a high-risk, high-reward game that funds innovative ideas and keeps the tech world going.
Okay, here's my concern.
Here's my concern. Who the hell picked out that shirt for you?
What?
Oh, I see. With the pants. So I guess it's a whole thing.
My wife picked these out.
Then you married poorly.
Oh boy.
You care about Pied Piper?
Do I care about Pied Piper? Well, of course.
Because if you do, I'm not seeing it. In fact, what I think I'm seeing is the human equivalent of a flaccid penis.
Okay, we're gonna stop that. Didn't get a chance to vet these videos, but let's go on to our next one. Now that you know a little bit about VCs, what if you're not ready for VC money? Let's listen to what Mark Cuban has to say.
As an entrepreneur just starting out, I've been told that that it would be good to raise money from friends and family. Most of those people that are saying that have friends and family who have been able to give them, sizable amounts of money. But for those of us who don't have those means and those contacts, what do I do?
Sweat equity is the best equity. You start smaller. Most businesses, I'd say at least 90, if not 95% or more percentage of small businesses, startups, can start without raising any capital at all. You just use sweat equity. Now, obviously, we don't know what kind of business she's trying to start, but you just have to try to start smaller. The hard part for most people is that trade-off between, do I keep my job or how do I start a company when I have a job? Most people feel like they need to raise money so they can quit their job.
So do you advocate they quit their job?
No.
You say, go make it happen, get some revenue in, prove it out a little
I worked
bit.
as a bartender at night. I mean, whatever you have to do, that's part of being an entrepreneur. So if you have to work on weekends, you have to Uber at night, Uber on weekends, so that you have some income coming in so you can work on your company, or you work your regular job during the week, and at night and weekends, that's when you work on your startup.
So the good news there is anybody can be an entrepreneur if they're willing to work their ass off 24 hours.
That's what it takes.
That's your message there.
You know, like they always say, entrepreneurs work 80 hours so they don't have to work 40.
Man, that guy's awesome. So in the spirit of sharing real experiences, since we don't have our guest today, I will share my personal experience on how we were able to raise $130,000 in pre-seed funds for ClosedWon. All right, so let's switch our screen. So how did we raise money for our startup ClosedWon? Step 1. Find a problem. Okay, so what time is it? It's 5:17. Okay, so I'm gonna try to take my time. The journey. So my journey, my background is right after college. So I went to University of San Francisco. Right after college, I got recruited to a small startup company called Yelp.com. Some of you may have heard it. And so the way sales was back then, this is 2007-ish, is we had to, it's kind of like door-to-door knocking. And we didn't get leads. There's no such thing as inbound leads. I remember we had stacks of yellow phone books. I don't know if you guys remember the phone books, the yellow phone books. We would take those phone books and we would literally call them and put them in this new platform called Salesforce, CRM. And so we would take all that data and manually type it in and then start calling them. Or we would go in at like 5 a.m. and then the company would give you leads and all the sales reps would essentially fight for those leads. And so the first thing that I learned how to do was book sales meetings. And it was so hard because business owners, so Yelp is a platform, for those of you who don't know, it is a platform, a review website that connects people to great local businesses. And we had to call these businesses back to back calls. I would make anywhere between 100 phone calls to 150 phone calls per day from 5 a.m. all the way to sometimes 8 p.m. at night. And the goal was to schedule meetings. And so I did this for 4 years. Meeting. And that is the foundation of sales. If you don't have sales meetings, you can't really generate revenue, period. And so this was a problem that was very near and dear to me, and I've been solving this problem for every single startup that I worked at, from Yelp to PandaDoc to tintup.com. It's always the sales meetings. And I figured out that I think I figured out how to generate these meetings, and it's 3 things. Number 1 is you need good data or leads, and then you need a way to engage with them, and that's it. Those 2: lead, engagement equals meeting. So that was the problem. So I found a problem. Great. Now what? Step 2: service the solution. Okay. So we didn't have money back in 2018 for ClosedWon, and we didn't have any funding or anything. And so how did we generate revenue? Because I knew how to book meetings, what I did is I reached out to other people and I asked them, would you pay, we'll use $3,000 as an example, would you pay $3,000 if I booked meetings for you? And they're like, yeah, I will pay you $3,000 if you book sales meetings for me. And so that's what I did. And we used Excel sheets. So Excel sheets, you have LinkedIn, you have email, you have your phone. So I serviced the solution. I didn't have a platform. I didn't have technology then. And so that was the second thing. Service your solution. You don't need a product. You can just start providing services and charging people for solving their issues and their problems. Step 3, find mentors. This was huge for me. I don't think we would be where we are if it wasn't for the superheroes in my life. And there's only a few of them, but these mentors have impacted my life greatly, and also ClosedWon. And so here's how I found my mentors. So since I've worked with pretty good technology companies, I knew that if I asked the CEO to be my mentor, they're going to say yes, because we have a really good relationship. And so I reached out to my CEO at PandaDoc and I asked him, would you be my mentor? I'm going to start a company. And Mikita Mikado said yes. So he became my first mentor. And then I reached out to my other CEO that I've worked with, because we have a good relationship. And that was Tim Sekou. And he also said yes. He was the CEO of tintup.com. So that's how we were able to find mentors. Now, why is that important? Let's go to step 4, sweat equity. It's important because I didn't know how to turn our company into a corporation. It's important because I didn't know how to work with legals and cap tables, and I didn't know how to work with how to establish a business. And so I had to ask both Tim and Mikita, how do you do this? How do you start a business? And so they were there to help us build our equity. So you need to become a corporation in order to have equity so that you can begin to work. And that's what sweat equity is. For equity that are eventually vesting. Step 5, proof of concept. Step 5, okay, I said this briefly earlier, which is the minimum viable product. It is also a way for you to service. Once you have serviced your first few clients, the next thing you need to do is optimize. And so how do you optimize? Okay, well, an example would be, I don't want to, I'm servicing people and I'm writing things. So I don't want to do that for every single client. So I'm going to use an Excel sheet, right? I'm going to use Google Docs. I'm going to use a website. I'm going to use a landing page so that I could speed up the way people find me, the way people sign up to me. So that is a proof of concept. Once you have that proof of concept, make sure that you're constantly asking people, would you pay for this service, and collect the money. Don't be afraid to collect the money. That's how you start generating revenue, is through your first clients. And so let's move on to the next one. All right. Oh, and there you go. Those are the steps that ClosedWon took in order to close $130,000. And so step 6, we didn't have a step 6 because we were generating pretty good MRR with the work that we were doing, that investors found out about us. And so Jason Calacanis and Launch Accelerator came to us and said, hey, you should come join the accelerator. So we joined the accelerator. And then once we closed that, friends and family also started to believe in our idea as well, and how we're solving things. And they joined the pre-seed round. And that is how you close and generate money for your startup. So let me go into the closing. All right. A little different today, and that's okay. Closers, I hope you enjoyed learning more about how to raise money for your startup. I promise you, we will absolutely reschedule with Amanda so that you can learn more about how she raised $2.1 million from Silicon Valley's top VCs. I believe that this is a journey that anyone can go on, and that the biggest mistake you can ever make is to raise funding when you're not ready. If you have not yet built a business that delivers true value, value that your customers will pay for, use sweat equity. Work for free, work for equity, essentially. You don't need money to provide services that solve a problem for your customers. Offer them a proof of concept. Close that deal. Ask for the close. Always ask for the close. That's how you validate your idea. That's how you validate what you're going to build. If someone pays for it, that means it's validated. It's an actual business model. So, if you want to be inspired, subscribe to this channel. Watch these videos. Learn as much as you can for free. Don't quit. Don't stop. No matter what happens, if people don't show up and reschedule, that is okay. Keep on going. These tips will change you if you let it. Again, if you haven't already, be sure to smash the subscribe, like the video, and until next time, keep on closing. Peace. Becoming a successful entrepreneur isn't easy, but it's not impossible. Subscribe to my channel today, and together, let's figure out how to grow.